Dan RadioStyle. Hope everybody out there is rocking and rolling, having a good time, living life. Got a great little show we're going to do here quick, and then, of course, we get into a Q&A like we normally do. It's Saturday, folks. Come on. Give a couple more people a chance to jump on in. For those of you watching, again, I'll probably chop it. But hope everyone's doing good. Got a lot of good people in there. You know, by the way, for those of you that do show up early, and I'm not saying you should because there's no show going on. There's a lot going on, right? But got a busy life. But we had a nice little chit-chat going on. A couple questions flowing back and forth, and sharing is caring is what people say. Kind of ties into a little bit. I don't know, roughly. Everything ties into everything, but transformation, right? Let's get serious. Let's start talking about some serious stuff. It's what you're here for. And to ask questions, maybe. But transformation is something that all of us are involved in one way or another, right? One way or another. Either A, you're stoked at where you're at. Life's good. Heading in a bitchin' direction. This is exactly what I want to do. This is exactly how I want it to be, right? All that stuff, you're on track. You're doing it. So keep doing what you're doing in that case. But there are a number of us that maybe have some challenges in our life, maybe have some things that aren't going quite how we'd like them to, and are trying to figure out, how can I change that? How can I alter my life? How can I alter my path? How can I get myself heading in the right direction? Now, I think there's a big key that a lot of us, a mistake we make maybe. Yeah, I think it's perception. I really think. I mean, it's not really a mistake. It's just sometimes looking at something a little differently can like turn that light on and you're like, I get it now. In transformation, there's a little key here, and I'm not going to bury it, but I kind of got to build up to it. There's a couple little keys, I think, that are going to make a big difference. And when we look at transformation differently, when we kind of alter how we view that, you can actually change. It can be the deal breaker. It can be the difference between, I've been struggling with this and struggling with this and struggling with this, to then within a week or whatever, just depending, all of a sudden, everything's back on track. Maybe a day, maybe an hour. So again, we're either currently there or currently not. Now, one of the keys to first look at is, are you generally speaking, and I need honesty from all of you, are you generally speaking someone that's more of a glass half full or a glass half empty kind of person? I mean, I'd love it if some of you guys even chime in and chat right now and sort of kind of acknowledge what kind of person you fall into. But are you a glass half full, glass half empty? Do you generally see the good in people, the good in things, that things generally work out, that, yeah, there may be a bumpy road here, but we'll get through it. There's always a way, like, versus everything always is horrible. People kind of generally suck. I don't like it. I don't trust anybody. I don't trust people, but I'm a glass half full guy, so don't let that one sway you, you know. But from the general standpoint, kind of where you're at in that whole scheme, I liken that to your consciousness. And if there's a transformation that needs to occur, it's going to be there. Goddard's talked a lot about it. A lot of other masters have talked about it. But it really comes down to consciousness. It really comes down to what I believe and feel and understand the world to be. Now, the confusing part about all that, it's consciousness. It does. It got you. I can tell other people that too. But what does that really mean? And that is a very challenging proposition, it seems. To me, consciousness is kind of that what I'm aware I am, what I know to be, what I am doing. It's that part of me that is, one, aware of the surroundings. Like it's the part that's constantly like, oh my God, look at that. That's an ugly dress. Or, oh, look at that. That's a beautiful car. Or, oh, that house would be wonderful. I'd like to eat at that restaurant. That conscious part that's constantly throughout the day, just like a kid going, what's that? What's that? What's that? That to me is kind of the consciousness. Now, that part of us has some beliefs, has some views about life, has some definite opinions about the way things are. That's your consciousness, in my mind. Or at least I'm trying to liken it to that to help us all understand what the heck it is. So by realizing I'm a glass half full, glass half empty kind of person, gives me an indication, you, me, whoever, gives us an indication what we kind of need to work on and what this transformation's going to be. If you're a glass half full kind of person, then just kind of keep yourself shifted in the direction you're going. Your transformation's occurring. You're not necessarily, maybe you're transforming into a more vertical climb, right? A vertical in the sense of better and faster and higher or whatever. Just we're trying to come up with relative terms. But if you're someone that's kind of on the glass half empty side, your transformation's going to be a bit more of a a shift in this regard. Like, things are possible. I do have the ability to affect my life. I got that parking place that one time. Someone gave me a bottle of water. I found $1 on the street the other day. Things can happen. I am sure of that. I know for fact that I can do it. And when we start shifting from everything sucks to no, like, I think things tend to be pretty good. I see things kind of working better for me. I'm noticing that I slowed down before that motorcycle cop up there, just ironically, like, the life's looking out for me, the world's looking out for me, like, whatever, right? Like, I'm starting to see that shift. Just acknowledging that I'm seeing a change for our minds, for our consciousness is like, okay, yeah. I'll get behind this. I'll give you a break. So one of the things that we do or forget, and I think it's an amazing reminder. I want all of you guys to think of a child that's in your life. Most of us, I honestly think, you get past a certain point in your life and you forget what it was to be a child, an innocent child. And really, that innocent child is very close to where we come from. So children still tend to remember where we come from. Now, some of you might not, I don't want to debate all that, but we're energy that lives forever, right? We didn't just have a start and then poof, show up in this life and then we live forever. No, we lived forever prior to poof, ending up in this life. And hey, guess what? We're going to continue to live forever after. Oh, I didn't put my picture over here. That's horrible. Look at that. Right, there you go. That's a big improvement. But we make that transition in our life, big transitions in our life, when we forget what it's like to truly imagine, to truly pretend that something exists. See, as adults, we call it pretending because that's what children are doing. They're pretending. But to a child, in their mind, it's real. It's real. When they have a tea party with the frog and the piggy and the whoever, right? Whoever, SpongeBob, I don't even know who right? He wouldn't be at a tea party. Everyone knows that. First off, the water in the ocean would cool off the tea. It would just ruin the experience. But that being said, right? She's sitting at a table, and these people are literally having conversations with her. God knows where she's at. Maybe she's in the same kind of room, but she's enjoying herself. But she's completely believing this reality to be so. And because of that, it's real to children. And then we as adults are like, oh, you're pretending, you're make-believing, none of that's real. Those are just imaginary friends. You shouldn't talk to imaginary people. How do I know they're imaginary, Mommy? Well, if I can't see them, they're imaginary to you. Right? Like, we just shatter that dream. But ultimately, it's because our dream was shattered as kids. That's what you do. Not that we're here to ruin our kids' lives, but we ultimately forget the power of thinking about something, imagining something like it's real, and it actually being real. Because that's where we come from. We still are there. It's just like we're walking around in cold molasses. We manifest in cold molasses. We manifest in cold water, right? It's just slow. It just slows everything down. And it takes a lot of getting used to for us. That's why so many of us are like, why can't I have it now? It's like, well, because, and two, we can't seem to keep our thoughts in a positive direction long enough to make sure it happens. So find a child. Ask them questions while they're imagining. Ask them what they see. Ask them what they believe. Don't criticize. Don't question it. Don't tell them it's right or wrong, but ask. Because we've forgotten as adults, the smart ones who know what's going on. Yeah, well, yeah, no, we got it. We got this figured out, don't we? But we're the ones who can't transform our society, our worlds. We can't make things better. But kids, they can. What's the difference? Well, they believe what they imagine, period. So they imagine something, and they believe it. Done. That's consciousness. That is consciousness perfected. We managed to strip it of all of its beautiful parts. It's like taking a business and being like the company that owns my current, the company I work for. And they generally come in and they'll take a piece and sell it, and they'll take another piece, sell it, take another piece, break it up, sell it, ruin it. So remember that childlike innocence. Now, we see transforming as a number of things that need to happen. So that's where a lot of us come at this from, right? I want to be with a specific person, or I want to manifest more income. I want to manifest a different job. I want to manifest a better house, a better life. I want to move. And when we look at the thing that we're trying to manifest, we see it as from where we're at right now. So right now, I want to move to Australia, and I live in Southern California. So right now, I look at it like, all right, oh, God, to move to Australia, like, my work, and then, oh my God, I'd have to sell like a bunch of stuff. And then so we start kind of thinking about all the things we got to do to get from here to there. But that's actually kind of the wrong way to look at it. Really, if you think about it, the best way to get there is to think about there, Australia, realize that that's where I've got to get, and go, okay, make it so. And what happens then is a series of steps begin to show themselves to get me from where I am now to where I want to go, which is Australia, mate. Right? So I want to figure out a way to do that. So you go to the place that you want to be. You say, all right, here I stand in Australia, I stand in Sydney, or I stand in Perth, or I stand in wherever the heck I want to go. And I'm here. I want to get my consciousness to this place. Thank you very much. And I do that by imagining being there, how cool it's going to feel to be standing in Sydney or Perth or wherever else. I don't know all the major cities in Australia. I think Perth's way off on the side, right? Anyway, it doesn't matter. So I imagine that. I create the place. I experience it. I feel it as though it's there. I live in the wish fulfilled. I am in the end. Whatever crazy name you got for it. That's what you're doing. You're imagining, you're making believe that you're there. And you make believe so good that you feel it. It's like it's real. And you're almost like you're a kid again. And once you do that, cool little neat thing happens. Kind of like that, like Maps or Google Maps or MapQuest or whatever mapping software you use, Siri Maps or whatever. I don't know if Apple's got a special map program. Apple Maps, whatever. Just call them whatever the hell they are. So what they do is they go, all right, that's where you're going. All right, and they draw a line back to you. You don't draw a line from where you are to it. You draw a line from it back to you. And what that does is that immediately creates the appropriate, correct, right steps for you to end up in that location. And as a child, you accept the fact that, no, yeah, that's where I'm going. And people will be like, well, why do you assume that? And you're like, well, I imagined it. I was totally there, and that's what I want to do. Done. And they're like, wait, no, it's not that easy. And you're like, yeah, it is. And stop crashing on my little tea party, adult. Yeah, it is that easy. Pretend you're there, and guess what happens if that's really your intention? Now, kids aren't necessarily pretending to go to another location. They're just hanging out with friends for the most part and having fun and hanging out with people they love and miss. For us, we're actually trying to transform our reality. So, pretend that you're there. Understand that's where I'm going. I'm going there. This is it. I've made the decision in my mind consciously that is where I'm going. Or I'm getting that new job. Or I'm going to buy a new house. Or I'm going to get a new house in this city. Or I'm going to date so-and-so. Or I'm going to find love finally after so much time, whatever. I am finally I'm doing this. This is happening. And it's in a now kind of concept. I'm doing it now. Which means I have it because it's going to happen, but it doesn't mean I have it right this second. So I don't just be like, oh, hi job that I'm not actually currently working. No, it's like, okay, so what am I doing today to take a step towards that? What's my first stepping stone? I don't know if you guys have been in those yards, right? Where they've got those little special stones that you step on, right? And they just kill the grass right underneath, or the earth, or whatever the hell it is, right underneath that. Maybe crazy bugs are living under it, but whatever. And then stuff grows all around it, but you just walk on the stepping stones. That's what manifestation is. So what's the next stepping stone? That's your focus. What's the next stepping stone? There's a bunch of stepping stones. I'm at the back door of my house, and there's a shed, maybe 50 feet out there, and I've got stepping stones or a worn path, whatever, to it. What do I have to do to get to it? I don't question the fact that I'm going to end up in the shed. I don't question the fact that I'm currently in the house and be like, oh, it's impossible. I'll never get to the shed. What could I ever do? Oh, yeah, that's right. Step, 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 step. Hey, the shed. Cool. I'm there. That's what we're doing. It's not that we pretend in our brains that it's real and that somehow creates it. No. You're creating a destination and you're going there. And you're doing it in such a fashion that works in space-time. You're doing it in such a fashion that works with our consciousness. You're doing it in such a fashion that other people around us can believe. Just how things play out in this molasses world. It's how it is. But that's how manifesting occurs. So one of the fun things about wherever you're traveling in life, wherever you're at this moment, wherever you're going, if you decide you want to transform where you're heading, all you got to do is open up that map program in our minds. Set the destination. It doesn't care where you're at right now, does it? No. It's going to get you there from wherever you are. So imagine yourself, put yourself there, and guess what? Guess where you're going to end up? The little red line. Oh, please make a right turn in 50 feet. Suddenly you've got directions to your location. You can change your destination at any point. And in fact, for some of you that are, just to keep on the analogy with your map program, I'm on my way to a specific location and I'm like, ooh, kind of hungry. You guys hungry? How about we see if we can find a restaurant that's between here and there, and it'll add a stop along the way. Yes, that's part of the journey. You're heading to where you're going. You're transforming your life and your consciousness. And you're realizing that by pretending to get there, you're actually going there. And when we finally accept that, embrace that, realize that, become that, your consciousness shifts to a place where it's like, yes, that's possible. I believe that's going to happen. I know that's happening. And your consciousness shifts. It's like the mirror technique, and I believe I've got it linked below. But it's when you look in the mirror and you're like, I am successful. I am smart. I am funny. I am what I need to be to get this job. I am what I need to be or who I need to be to attract this person. Look in the mirror and stare yourself in one of your eyes. It's usually one eye, right? You stare at one eye. Stare at yourself and tell yourself that. I am these things. I am this. I am that. Shift your consciousness and know that you're going to the destination. Your maps, just follow the maps. Follow the stepping stones. And your desire is just over the path there. Hope that helps, guys. Dan RadioStyle for the closeout when I edit. Now, question time for everybody out there. Want to say hi to everybody first off and foremost, and got lots of stuff. So here, if you got questions, now's a good time to start thinking of typing them in. And just so you know, there's, I think, probably about a 3-second delay or whatever. Got some good people that were hanging out, though, early on, and that was lots of fun. So we, Light Evolving, Hotep, we got Pay to Hobo, we got Jerry, Mr. Ballard. Let's see what else we got. Gail Richardson, Jesse S., Josephine DeMarco. I'm just trying to read too much, but it didn't seem like there's a question in there. Susan, I love your name. I almost said the last name. Good for you. Happy birthday, by the way. Even if that's your legit name, I just don't feel like it's probably a good name to say right now. Anyway, hello, everyone. Martine. Let's see what we got here. Woo, hello. Of course, it's got to jump. Now we got some stuff going on. People are like chit-chatting away. What do we got? Dan, we will pass to the... Oh, yeah. Oh, that was me. Sorry. Someone was asking a question about an animal with cancer and trying to manifest that clean. And anyway, that's just a lot of places that ultimately, you know, we all kind of end up going someplace else. So anyway, let's see. We got yoga class without passing gas. I can manifest anything. Bugging a flea, good on you for not passing gas during yoga. That is prime time there. Checking in from Abu Dhabi. Very awesome. This is kind of exciting. Saturday evening here. Very, very cool. Welcome, Haley New. Apparently you're new. I like that. Josephine DeMarco, have you watched Watchmen on HBO? Dr. Manhattan reminds me of Neville's ideas on time because he experiences time all at once. So yeah, that's a common... I haven't watched the show, no. That's a very common and I believe correct concept of time. A lot of us think of time horizontally, right? Timelines. It's almost always how they look. But the reality is time's actually vertical. So it's all happened right now. We're stepping through it from kind of an experiential standpoint, but time, one, is really irrelevant. Two, I mean, we've got watches and crap, but that doesn't mean it's time. Time is experiences, I think, and it's just a way for us to log our movement of our planet around the sun. But outside of that, I mean, you could wait 5 minutes, you could wait 12 hours. It can feel the same sometimes. You started reading the autobiography of Yogi. I have read that, actually. It's a very, very good book, North Star 143. Very, very good book. In fact, I'm pretty sure I have that in my bookcase out in my other room. Sharon Combs, good morning. Jillian, nice to see you. Let's see, Julie Matthews. St. Louis, right on, man. Very cool. Autumn Beauty, finally. Figured I was going to see you pop in here. Edit's fun. My BF broke up after scripting that I am married to him. Why? Well, I, again, like to say that it's working. So whatever the case is, I mean, maybe he's got to come to terms with this. Maybe there's, I don't know. I don't know what else is going on in your guys' relationship. But generally speaking, things are happening precisely as they need to. Remember the steps I was just talking about, right? Those steps get kind of opened up for you. Sometimes things happen that look weird. Assume the best. Give it the benefit of the doubt. It may look bad. It may look like the end of the world's coming. Trust me, sometimes when chaos gets spread out, sometimes it coalesces. Not sometimes. It's usually because it's coalescing back to some form of order again. You're like reshuffling the deck. It's a good way to look at it. So I would try to change how I shift. I would see it as, okay, well, all right, I don't fully understand what's going on right now, higher self, but I'm going to assume that this is for the best, and you will find that you are in a much better place because of that. That's awesome. Your mom's death is 111th anniversary. Mine was 102. Not that the number was cool like yours, but mine was recent at least, so my heart goes out to you, Christine. But that is, yeah, it sucks when our parents pass. There's no question about that. Halfway working at full. Okay, that's good, Jerry. I don't know what that means. Oh, half. Oh, I gotcha. Back to the glass half full thing. All right, I think most of us being here, learning from you and appreciating you proves we are a half full kind of people. I like where your mind's at, Jillian Schlegger. That's a very, very good way to look at it. I love it. A lot of people are like sometimes full, sometimes half. That's good though. And that's the thing, guys. Listen, our consciousness is, we've got to look at how we tend to behave, how we tend to react. We can push out and blame everyone all we want, but ultimately it's us. Our consciousness is what's creating this reality. If there's no ifs, ands, or buts around it. And so if you're seeing something that sucks, don't blame the thing that sucks. Look inside. You got something going on. You've got this consciousness thing. And yeah, maybe it's not readily available right to your senses, but be aware of it. Be mindful of it. Notice it the next time it happens. Try to dial it in, and trust me, you will figure out what it is that you're like, oh, I just don't like, people from this place, or oh my God, I don't like wealthy people, or I hate people that drive Ferraris, right? In fact, it was so funny, is there was a dude that pulled into the neighborhood across the way from me. Like, I live in condos, and then the other side's like houses, right? This guy drives in with a Ferrari, and it's like loud. It was like, I don't know, 6 this morning in our time, right? And it's Ferrari, and I pull into my car. I can still hear his car, and I'm like, that is so awesome. So that's where I was like on the glass half full side of it. I'm like, that car is so gorgeous. The 12 cylinders, and I can hear it this far away. It's just got this beautiful growl. Anywho, that's a guy thing. Violet, what is the meaning of the picture, by the way? So a lot of people ask questions about the picture. It's a very, very, very common question. One, I'm very into mystical stuff, magic and all that cool stuff. But that being said, this reminds me of my master teacher, primarily. That's really the simple thing. But yeah, you got like fairy in here. Yeah, I'm very into what's considered not real. Oh, it's very real. It's very, very real. Good stuff. Again, pretend, and gee, it's amazing what you can experience sometimes. Josephine DeMarco, William Blake, Songs of Innocence, section of Songs of Innocence and Experience highlights Neville Goddard's emphasis on power of child's imagination. Awesome. That's very, very cool. Let's see. I joined a little late, but wanted to tell you thank you, Dan. Appreciate you too, Miss Viva La Vida. Living the life. Good for you. I like that. Maybe unicorns and imaginary friends do exist, but we can't see them. Who says we? Okay, maybe you can't, Gail. Some of us can. I'm just saying. Again, that kind of goes back to the point of what I was talking about, right? Like, just because we have beliefs, that's consciousness. That's a belief. Well, they don't exist. They aren't real. Says who? And that's the part. Like, says who that you can't imagine what you want? Says who that you can't manifest? Says who? Same people. Same people are saying the same thing. Can't do that. That's not true. I disagree. Let's see what else we got in here. Because their parents tell them that unicorns don't exist. Thank you very much. That is, you are telling exactly. Speak it. Let's see. Did you see Jojo Rabbit? Boy in the movie is meaning imaginary friends, represents his ego, false self. In that movie, it does, but I haven't seen the movie. No, I don't think that necessarily is what is the reality of life per se. But yeah, that could be a way of seeing it. And beliefs, again, whatever you believe is what's real. That's kind of what's kind of cool. We all live in our own little universes. And that's why beliefs matter so much, because your beliefs affect your universe. You're the god of your universe. Period. Doesn't matter if you don't want to be or do want to be or shouldn't be or whatever. You are. You're the captain of your ship. You make the rules. You decide what's so, and you live by it. And that's where we get ourselves in trouble frequently, because we've created this. That's the beauty of it all. Just manifested your move. Good for you, Jillian. I like that. Let's see. I love when it jumps though, because it means there's a lot of stuff in here. Let's see. What else we got? I manifested my dream home. I just had to move across the country to get it. So there's nothing wrong with that, I don't think, right? Killeen, Oklahoma. Wow, that's a lot of stuff going on. I'm sure I said that wrong, but whatever. You try to say that really just on the fly and never even seen it before. Sometimes there is so much doubt and so much confidence that I will manifest. Awesome. You describing sort of my situation. Well, that's very cool. Areli. But confidence is much more than doubt. Doubt is a destroyer. Himanshu's sign, you're right. It's not even the confidence. Goddard specifically talks about there's two things that kill a manifest. Literally kill it dead. Kill it dead in its tracks. It was walking and trudging along, and then it just falls. Dead. Dead to the world. And that's doubt and talking about your manifestation. These are the two most damaging things you can potentially do in law of attraction. And I get it. A lot of people are like, yeah, you're just trying to sell your book. Wait, you don't have a book, Dan. Nope, just trying to speak the truth, folks. Just trying to share with you the best I understand. I don't have anything to sell you. Got a bridge I'm putting together that's imaginary that I'd like to sell you someday. We'll talk about that down the road. All right, Dan, have a good morning from Michigan. Rock on, Michigan. What part are you on, the upper part or that lower part? I'm just curious. And I don't know how you guys refer to those parts. Probably west and the south. I don't know. I don't live in Michigan. Never have. I don't even think I've been in that state, to be honest with you, oddly. Anyway, what if you want to leave where you are, but you have no idea where that someplace is? Then say, I want to leave. I want to find my purpose. Like, that would be my question. It sounds personally. So anyone that feels like that, what that is generally in my mind is someone that has a sole purpose that's screaming inside of themselves, ah! But the other part of us, or maybe what our parents taught us or whatever, like, you have to do this, you have to do this. And so you've gone down that path and you get there and you're like, all right, I'm a successful surgeon, or all right, I'm in a happy family with children. And you're like, but I'm still not happy. It's because you need to follow your soul. So what I would ask is speak to your higher self and be like, hey, help me see what this desire is inside of myself. Help me see what this passion is that I crave. Help me find this purpose. And once you find that purpose, it opens doorways that you never realized. And sometimes it's not an issue of I got to get someplace, but I don't know where. It's more important to understand, okay, I got to get someplace. Oh, why? What is it? And then you realize what that part of yourself is that's talking. And you like shake its hand and you're like, oh, I did not know I had this in me. Or I did not know this was such a strong desire. And when you're following your soul's desires, 1, doors open like nobody's business. 2, you tend to make money. It may start kind of weird at first. Radio for me, man, I'm in a very different place many, many, many years later after pursuing my dream. But it's all worked out. When I look back, everything I did in radio and all the $200 a week job I had for a period of time, like the crap money I made for a period of time, taught me some valuable lessons. So when you follow your soul's path, you will end up where your heart really wants to be. And trust me, the rewards that should be there are. They are. Always. If you go down the path and not just go down it like, well, people that do what I do are poor. No, go down the path and go, people that do what I do find ways to make income. Believe there's a way and you will. Always, always, always. Let's see. Can I speak, Peter Cass, can you speak a little bit about synchronicities is as I starting to experience them? Oh, and it's been awesome. So synchronicities, another way to say signs, symbols, whatever's, how manifesting generally works, especially early on. And I'm going to cover this from 2 angles. How manifesting, okay, first angle. One thing, synchronicities, when we start seeing number patterns, 1s, 5s, 10s, like 1111, those kinds of things, like when that starts to happen, not even related to manifesting, just in general, that's an awakening process. And what that is that's us realizing that the universe itself, our creation, is responding back to us. Our higher selves are trying to get our attention in the real world to our conscious selves. It's an awakening process. It's a process where it's like, the outer world's talking to me. From that, generally, it leads into a deeper discovery of why. And then you get people like Neville Goddard, for example, and they talk about how what we think about and focus on is what gets pushed out, right? It's what the masters have talked about. What we've got going on inside of ourselves gets actually pushed to the outer world. Now, that's been given all sorts of fun little nomenclatures. Goddard calls it the world as you pushed out. A lot of people have called that everyone as you pushed out, and there's all sorts of variants that have spun around. But ultimately, we're projecting onto a screen, seeing it flash before us, and that movie's our movie. We're the director, we're the actor, we're producer, we're all of it. So synchronicities are kind of us getting our attention. Then once we start to actually practice and plan what we're going to experience and focus on what we're going to experience, then we start seeing indications or coincidences or things along those lines of the path that we're on. And that's why I did a video not long ago where, trust the small things, or the small wins, I think is what I called it. If you want to search for it on my channel, to trust the small wins. It's looking at what's showing in my reality and going, okay, am I on track or am I not on track? If I'm seeing a lot of negative stuff, I'm probably not on track. If I'm seeing a lot of synchronicities that remind me of the person I love or the company that I want to go work for, suddenly I'm seeing its name everywhere, or suddenly I'm seeing wealthy people everywhere, or I'm finding out about different tax havens or different ways that I can invest or whatever, right? Like all of a sudden you're finding out stuff that would imply that you're going to have a larger amount of income. Those kinds of synchronicities suggest that, you're on your way. You're on the path. And it's really cool. And so when we consciously take ownership of the movie that's playing in our movie theater and finally decide that I can change the tape anytime. Oh, really? Like, I don't have to live this crappy life? Are you kidding me? Right? The second we figure that out, it is amazing. And we suddenly take ownership. And from that point, you totally start seeing things in your life. People call them signs, people call them symbols, people call them synchronicities, people call them coincidences. It's us creating stuff that we're intending to create, and it's just showing ourselves little what do they call them, goose eggs, right? Little Easter eggs, that's what they call them, like in software and stuff, like when you play in a game and there's some little you went into this weird room and you found like this really cool thing that nobody else knows about. It's an Easter egg. You're giving yourself little hints and clues along the way to help yourself. Let's see. I am urging my visualizations in a way that I feel so good, man. Trust that's true. I'm on the right path. My English is not good. Your English is cool. I could have fun reading you. Mr. Neville is your name. So Mr. Goddard is here to enjoy us, but he's, from the first name kind of way. We don't want to get like real official with him. It's not Mr. Goddard. It's Neville. Let's see. Q, advice on how to feel the place you want to be if you haven't ever been there. Jillian, so if it's a physical place, do some research. Get online. Don't act like you can't actually see it. If it's on another planet, all right, you might have some challenges. Even the moon's got pretty solid imagery. So whatever the case is, I'm 100% sure that there are ways that you can experience it. Talk to people that have done it. Talk to people that have been there. There's always a way. So very limiting in your kind of question, right? So you can, someone's been there. So learn about it. Learn about this place you want to go or this experience you want to have. Someone's probably had that experience before you. And if not, do your best and manifest, all right, I want to be the first person to experience this. I want to be the first person that sees literally the frequency that's considered plaid in colors. That's bad. That's such a science joke. Anyway, it's not even funny to a scientist for that matter either. Let's see. Charisma Detroiter living in Nashville. Nice. Susan. Real me. Kuntz. That's a much better than saying it the other way. Thank you. Thank you, Susan. Yeah, because I couldn't say it the way it was spelled. I'm like, well, this is not going to pass muster. I think you just made me blush. That's even better. Let's see. My mom says if we all collectively learned revision, we could fix so many political problems. If we could all just focus on being like in the same world, I love the fact that we can look at the past and want to change the past. Ultimately, the past is meant to be learned from. This is my opinion. Please just accept it for a second. But the past is what we learn from. The past is mistakes we've made. It's like, all right, don't do that again. Let's look forward. If we could all just get on the same page and look forward at the same place and try to wish for peace. Like, we can't even not kill each other on this planet. It is absurd to me that for some reason that's a hard thing to figure out, that we've got people that hate other people so much that we want to kill them for just being them. So I wish we could just really forgive a lot of the crap we do. But to your mom's point, yeah, if we could get a bunch of people to focus on the same thing, it's beyond powerful. It's super cool. Let's see. How can I ignore the negativity that I catch up during the day from people around me creates doubts? What I will find, Himanshu, is a lot of the times when I have negativity within me, I tend to see more people that are negative around me. When I focus less on that or focus more on things that are more positive, things that I'm looking to enjoy, things along those lines, believe it or not, I tend to experience way less of the negativity. So the way to ignore the negativity is to stop creating it. You're attracting that negativity because of where you're at internally. Focus on more positive aspects and watch what happens in your physical world. It's actually very trippy. It's very cool, but it's one of the neatest ways to prove to yourself. Like if you're someone that's kind of seeing a lot of something that you don't like, you're creating that. So try to figure out where, but then certainly just start focusing on the opposite. Just start saying the opposite. The opposite's true. And don't say the opposite's true. If it's like, I keep seeing that as traffic signal is red, then be like, that traffic signal's green. Every time I come through here, it's always green. It's really weird. Focus on the positive of it and watch what happens. It's fascinating. Alrighty. Tammy Nicole, what tips would you give to ignore the 3D while you are manifesting? The 3D is just an aspect of steps towards it. Kind of like I was talking about. If you're going to take a journey, standing at the backyard, right? The back fence, back sliding door, whatever. You got a deck, a couple stairs down, and then a walkway out to a shed. You're talking about ignoring your 3D reality. What that means to me, and I'm going to try to help in a degree, and then if you're not seeing it that way, then that's where some of the problem is. But for the moment, I'm trying to go to the shed. That's my plan. So when I open the door, do I look at the fact that the shed's way over there as a problem of getting there? No. I realize, okay, I'm going to the shed. The shed is going to be my destination. So I'm going to start walking out. I'm going to start taking steps on these stepping stones that have been laid out before me because I've imagined where I'm going. So along the way, I'm halfway to the shed. Do I question whether I'm going to make it to the shed? Do I question whether I can get back home? Do I question anything? No, I'm on my way to the shed. It's a journey. It doesn't happen instantly. So you're not ignoring your 3D. You're acknowledging the fact that it's becoming. The thing that I'm manifesting is becoming. It's happening right now. It's in but a moment. It's crystallizing, as I've talked about. Like all of these things are terms I've used in videos in the past couple weeks, right? It's happening. There's no ignoring 3D. Are you saying because you don't have it right this second? Well, you don't manifest instantly. None of us do. Some of us think we do because I thought of it and then all of a sudden someone walked in and said, hello, right? Like that. No, that's just you picked up on something that was about to happen. You didn't just manifest that instantly. And again, we can have that debate too. But it's happening. It's in process. Don't look at your 3D and be like, oh my God, I'm not at Disneyland yet, even though I'm still got like 4 more off-ramps. Forget it. We're never going to get there. No, you're totally getting there. Just don't look at what's going on right now as an indication of where you're going to be tomorrow. Don't let today keep you from making progress tomorrow. So look at it differently. I think that's really where a lot of us get hung up, is we see it like, because people talk about, you got to pretend like you have it already. Just imagine that you have it already and then just live in the end. And then you're like, okay, so I imagine it and then I feel it, okay? And then I just like walk around like, no, my girlfriend's with me right now, but I don't see her. No, it's because she's imaginary. I don't know. No, you don't do that. Like, you're going to be together. You're going to meet each other. It's going to happen. Just because it's not there right now doesn't mean it's not going to be. It's a very different way of looking at things, but it being in process, it happening, is something that you have to be able to accept. It's not instant. It's not a click on a button and then all of a sudden this thing in your life. That's not how it happens. And in very, very teeny rare cases, it does. But so hopefully that helps. I think for me, it helps. Just realizing that I'm in process. Like there are things in my life that are happening, things that are in progress. But I mean, is the final part of it yet? Am I happy where the results are yet? No. I mean, no. They're growing though. Like I'm happy with the progress. I'll say that. I see the progress. So different ways, different strokes for different folks, they say. Refuse to believe strong doubt. Yeah, believe doubt, any doubt. Strong doubt, weak doubt, fuzzy doubt, soft doubt, whatever. Yeah, I'd just say keep the doubt out of the way, Mr. Ballard. Let's see here. Gail Richardson, I can visualize exactly where I want to be and how I want to live, but I have trouble sometimes visualizing how having large sums of money, even when I have an exact amount in mind. It's not about the amount of money. It's not about imagining dollars and cents. It's about consciousness expansion. What would you do if you had large amounts of money? Imagine the lifestyle. Imagine how you feel. Imagine walking into places that you currently walk into, but being loaded. Imagine the difference between walking into a car dealership being loaded versus someone like, you or I maybe, right? That might walk into a car dealership and you're like, well, I can afford a car, but I'm not going to just give them money. That's silly, right? So it's that consciousness evolution. You walk in when you're rich like that, you don't care what it costs. You don't care. Really don't. Like, that's the car I want. If you want me to buy more cars here, you'll give me a good deal. And done. And you walk away. And you sign some papers and you're on the way out the door. So it's not the money. The money is sort of stuff, right? Like money is not really anything unless it's given to somebody or it's passed for something. But otherwise, it's just paper or cloth anyway, right? Like it's not real. It's nothing. That doesn't matter what you can't do anything with it by itself. You can burn it if you're cold. That's about it. It's about the only thing money's really worth all by itself is fire if you have matches. So imagine how you'd feel if you had the consciousness, if you have the money, if you imagine how, like I am wealthy. Again, do the mirror technique even. Like I am wealthy. I have money. I could walk into any place I want and buy whatever I want. Like feel it. What does that feel like being that loaded? That is what attracts the money. And flow. If you just want to pack it all up and shove it in your, if you're in your wall, just have thousands of dollars shoved away in a wall or a bank vault, not really doing anything with it. It's kind of pointless to have. I mean, yes, it's cool to have a savings, but even when you put it in the bank, for example, it's actually being loaned out, and right, that money's still flowing around, and you're getting a little interest back on the fact that you're letting the bank play with it. So there's still even kind of a flow from that standpoint, but just tucking it away or having it in my hand, that's not really abundance. That's hoarding, which is actually a lack and a limiting kind of thinking. Like, oh my God, the money's going away. I've got to hold on to it. Or I need to hold on to it because I want more. It's kind of a limiting thing. You don't want more money. You want more flow. I want to flow $20,000 a month through my bank account rather than $10,000 a month. That's flow. I'm not looking to have 20 grand sitting in my hand at the end of the month. Nah. I want to experience 20 grand. Yes, big time. Different story. All right. I have family back there too. We're really Detroit times. I love it. Philippines. Hello, Edith Delina. My girlfriend's Filipina. She's Pinoy. She's from Pampanga. Did I get that right? Yes, she speaks Kapampang. I gotta get that all crazy, figured it out. And Tagalog and all that other crap. Anyway, and English rather well, surprisingly. Anyway, Miss Biba La Vida. Okay, I have a question. I manifest my SP all the time. I manifest my SP all the time. Okay. I mean, just the statement itself is kind of interesting. I just always try to find reasons to end things with him because he doesn't show up the way I want and deserve, so I ignore him. So you're trying to change somebody to be something that they're not. And why don't you just, I don't mean this to sound bad, but why don't you just find somebody who is that? Wouldn't you be so much happier? Like I feel like you're in this cycle, like I want to be with you, I've put all this time into you, but you won't be how I want you to be. That's not love, first off, and maybe you're kind of coming across the same way to him. You ever think about it's a consciousness thing, right? So maybe you're not necessarily coming across to him the way he wants you to, right? There's always two sides to this, and I think it's good a lot of the times, especially when you're pointing a finger at somebody, but you're not doing. There's 3 fingers pointing back at you for a reason. 9 times out of 10, when we notice something in someone that we don't like, it's because we do it. And the converse of that, which is interesting to know, especially whenever all these people like say nice stuff to me. It's like the only reason you notice anything is nice is because it's a component within you. Both sides. If you're seeing something that sucks, it's inside of you. See something that's great, it's inside of you. Which one do you want to focus more on? It's kind of where that contrast comes into play. But ultimately, we can only see what we can understand. If you don't understand something, you're not going to see it. Pure and simple. It's kind of like visible light, right? Can't see infrared. It's there. You need special equipment to do it, but we can't see it with our physical eyes. It doesn't mean it's not there. So yeah, hopefully that helps a little bit. Never Ending Story was a great show. It's just actually, it's funny you say that, Josephine DeMarco, because I just pulled that up in a meeting yesterday with some people I work with. And it was just apropos, because it was like, here we are visiting the same thing again, same story. We were talking about it 3 months ago. Here we are talking about it again. I'm like, it's like the never-ending story. It's fantastic. What are your thoughts on Marvel's depiction of the multiverse? It's a multiverse. I totally get into the multiverse. I believe in the multiverse. We chose consciously to experience that in a particular way. I know there are people that talk about transforming the path they took at one point. There's some of that, I guess. There's also some larger things that I think people don't really talk about much, and certainly Marvel's not going to. But there was one thing that people, roughly around 2012. I'm not saying it was Mayan, but it was around that time. The timeline that we're on changed. There was a different timeline that we were on, and that timeline supposedly, again, take this as a grain of salt, please. Supposedly, the timeline we were on was one that was going to be a lot more of a war, destruction, kind of bad. Most of mankind was going to die, versus a path where that doesn't happen, and that we're actually going to kind of consciously shift into this higher density as a people while we're still alive, and it'll be kind of cool, and we're going to transform that way. Don't believe any of that, but that being said, those are kind of concepts also of multiverse that are not necessarily brought up. But yeah, there's all sorts of aspects around multi-dimensions, multi-time frames, multi-aspects of ourself, even multi-aspects of ourself in the same current reality that we live in. I bumped into one person that told me I had a doppelganger, and I think we all do. I think we all do have that other person that is just like us, and maybe it's even our darker side, right? Which, God forbid, I don't know, maybe the other one's like really evil, horrible. I don't know. Maybe he's really nice. Who knows? It's hard to say. It's kind of what I think on that craziness. Do you think of any mystical music that helps make visualizations easier to slip into while meditating? Christina, great question. I do when I meditate. Like if I'm going to do a really hardcore meditation, like an hour or 45 minutes, which I don't do often, by the way. It's only when I really feel like I need to, or something I feel like I want to get clarity on. That's about the only time I get into a heavy duty one like that. Then yeah, I've got a couple like spiritual CDs that I've had for years that I just like, and they're not distracting, and they're beautiful, and maybe light some incense, get some crystals, maybe light a candle, right? Like kind of really make it an experience. The only time I really feel like that's needed is if you need it, right? I mean, ultimately, that's what a lot of these things are, as tools. Ultimately, you'll realize through practice that I don't need crystals, I don't need incense, you really don't. You've got the ability within yourself, but these things are tools that help, right? It's like, so it makes a difference. I'm not saying it's like a tool, like a screwdriver, and you got to get a screw in, right? No, but it's, they're tools to assist. They're ways to help. Maybe it's like a knee brace, right? You didn't necessarily need the knee brace, but you're using it because it helps. Maybe that's kind of a way to look at it. And it hurts when I do this, so don't do that. Sharon, I have trouble with visualizing. I can't think it, but not picture it. Is there a trick to help get the visual picture? Practice, for sure. I mean, you can do it with something simple like an apple or even a candy bar. Not a bad idea. Like a candy bar. I'm just throwing up, and I just made this up, but whatever. I think it would work. So get a candy bar. Look at it really intently. Okay, maybe even flip it over, but look at the top side of it. And I suck at drawing, and I would do the same thing, by the way. But then try to draw it. Try to put some of the details in it where some of the writing was, maybe some symbols. Remember what you can, but stare at it for like 5 minutes. Really look at it. Candy bar, maybe your iPhone. Do your phone. That is a great way. Put your phone. Stare at your phone. All right, and you've probably seen your phone millions of times. Now draw it. What it is practice forcing you to visualize, and in that practice, you get better at it. That's all. Just do it. Practice makes perfect, they always say. So if you suck at something now, do it a bunch more times. And like, I hate doing it though, it sucks. And it's like, I know, but keep doing it. And eventually it won't suck. And eventually you might even start to like it. That's kind of the funny thing. But that being said, that would be probably a good step in the right direction for you. If you want to manifest something for someone else, do they have to be in a place to receive it, or can it happen as long as you believe? No, they have to be in a place to receive it. Otherwise, you could absolutely affect other people without their permission, which kind of breaks the law of, I know some people don't believe in it, but it breaks the law of we have our own choices. Why can't I'm not coming up with the name of it, but yeah, you're not allowed to do that. Law, done it, videos on it, whatever. Yeah, you can't force people to accept something. It's just against the laws of nature. You're not allowed to. I know a lot of people want to say they're you pushed out, so in some people's minds they're me, but I don't believe that's the case. I believe other souls are other souls. I mean, I've spent time with animals and looked in animals' eyes and realized that these are creatures. These are not just me looking at myself. This isn't me just manifesting a world and a bunch of me's running around so I can idolize myself. I don't think that's what we do. I think we all come to a playground like we did when we were children and hang out with a bunch of kids, right? Have fun with our friends. So no, other people are other people, and they have their own rights to make their own decisions. So they have to be open to it. And that's kind of actually where witchcraft gets in, by the way. And even dark witchcraft requires permission in some way, shape, or form of the individual they're doing the magic on. And a lot of the times it's done through fear and stuff like that, right? You intimidate people in kind of weird ways, and they'll give you their power in that way. I can't believe I'm actually saying this. That's so irresponsible of me. Anyway, change subjects. Cesar, no one will hear that part. That'll probably chop it out or something. Who knows? Cesar David Marin. Hi, Dan. What do you do when you have many desires? Do you merge them in one visual shot, or do you imagine them each separately? If you can merge them together, like, I'll give an example, I guess, from my life that I'm not going to get too specific, but I'm growing my whole entire world, right? So that's a change in a lot of things, right? It implies that a lot of areas of my life are going to expand. Money, income, job, success, video, all this stuff, right? Like what I do, even with other stuff, all these things are a part of that. I don't manifest each individual step of it. I manifest the big picture. Because ultimately the big picture is where I'm going. And I know some people say, yeah, but if you want it to happen faster, then focus on a specific thing. Yeah, that's true. So if of the big picture, having a girlfriend's way more important than getting the cool job, okay. Or if you're cool with the fact that you should get a cool job and then see what that affords you as far as free time and then do the girlfriend thing, okay, cool. Or if you want to do them both simultaneously, okay, cool. It's up to you. That's the bottom line. Supposedly is quicker. I say supposedly only because I've never really tried to just single focus, single thread something, because I can't. That's so boring to me. Like, I just can't do that. I'm not wired that way, and I've got so many irons in the fire already anyway. I'm not about to pull them all out just so I can watch one. So for me personally, it doesn't work just because of the way my mind works. I couldn't do it. But if you can single focus, or single thread is what my brother always calls his daughter, because she's sometimes like that. She's like, anyway, that being said, that is kind of a way to look at it. And there's no wrong way to do that. It's just what feels best for you. Let's see. I manifested YouTubers answering my question on live chats. At first, I thought my comments could only be read if I paid with Super Chat, but I imagined myself not to have to pay, and look where I am. Did you see Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse? I haven't seen the new Spider-Man movie, I don't think, yet. And you certainly don't need to Super Chat. In fact, Super Chats just stand out in a very cool way. And then I think ultimately YouTubers, if someone's paying money, real world money, yeah, I better answer your question. Otherwise, that kind of stuff doesn't keep happening. So Super Chats are really, from that standpoint, I think, big time. At least they help, so they say. Okay, what do we got? From the Philippines, hey, you're helping so much manifesting. My stage actor, nice. It's working, but just a bit. But since you kept on inspiring me with your lectures, I won't give up. Well, please don't give up, and just know that it's working, and it's just you kind of getting your consciousness shifted to where you are that actress and seeing those people on stage, and you're doing what you're there to do. And there will be some steps, and remember, there's no small parts, only small actors, right? Michelle Locasio. To little things like going out to dinner. Oh, sorry, probably talking to someone else. Let's see. Yeah, it's still bad to talk about what you're manifesting, period. It's not good. That's why I was trying to be very vague about specifics and what I'm doing. But yeah, you can have multiple irons in the fire is very important. Let's see. Miss Eva, is there a correct way to visualize? How do you know your visualization is actually working? You know your visualization is actually working if you feel it. If you visualize it to the point where it seems real to you and you can feel like, I've got this right now, like, this is really cool, then your visualization is working. If you're just seeing something in your mind but you've got zero feeling about it, it's really not doing a whole lot. You're just seeing stuff. But it's the feeling that they say, and I agree, because the soul works on feelings, so I really do think this is correct. It's the feeling that actually pushes it out. It's like the projector. The feeling is like the bulb in your projector. It's what actually shines out your thing, and then you'll see it. So yeah, if you're not feeling, probably not happening. You can see it all you want, but the visualization is meant to get you to the point of feeling as though the wish is fulfilled. That's the point of the visualization. It's not just seeing stuff per se. All right, I had to learn to stay open to new possibilities, to look outside of the box, just keep going forward, loving life. Susan Kuntz, you are 100% correct. That is exactly how it works. You just stay open to the fact that there is a way. And Goddard talks about God knows the way. I've also said your higher self. It's like the forest through the trees concept. I'm down inside the forest. All I can see is trees every damn place I look. Higher self's like above the canopy. And it can look out and be like, all right, there's a river over there, there's a rock range over there, and there's a 7-Eleven about 4 miles that way. That's the direction you want to go. You're no longer stranded, right? It's that part of us that we need to learn to trust. And it's that part of us that we need to learn to look to when we've got doubts. Wow, it doesn't look like I can do this. There's a big giant tree in my way. All right, higher self, what do I do? And believe it or not, you'll be surprised how directions suddenly seem to show themselves. Something that James Redfield, I think, also talks about a lot in Celestine Prophecies. For those of you that haven't read it, it's sort of an older book, but he did a Secrets to Shambhala, The 12th Insight. He did a bunch of really cool books. I linked those below as well, but James Redfield's just someone that, well, I think it was the Shambhala book, one of them, really talked about how, like, when you finally get yourself in that place where you realize there's definitely a way, and then you're asking your higher self, hey, can you show me how to get there? And it kind of talks about how the path gets lit before you. And in the case of the book, it was a little more obvious, where I think there was some like phosphorescence or some weird thing that kind of helped light the path in some sort of weird way. But like in real life, it's just weird. Sometimes things will catch your attention and you're like, oh, I think that just lit my path. It's just really cool how life plays out. Again, people wonder why I'm so excited and passionate about this crap. It's just because life is really neat the way it plays out, and the way we interact with it is fascinating to me. It's just very, very, very cool. Charisma Miles. Dan, I did some indications toward my person this morning, and it seems to be a bit random, but it was same info about him this morning. I never asked about him. I'm not sure what you're saying. I did. Anyway, I don't know. Let's see. Who else we got down here? Oh, ouch. Hey, Dan, keep up. Well, thank you. 1, 2, free. That's very kind of you. Miss Hill. Hi, Dan. How do you decide that someone is right for you or not? Because after a year of a relationship today, he told me about his past love affairs, and he still follow her on social media. What to do? Well, first off, that's a great question. Many of us don't ever bother to ask that question at all. I think it's one of the first questions you should ask when you're manifesting love into your life is, I would like to attract somebody that's a great, perfect fit for me, like an ideal fit for me. And that's saying a lot. So that's one thing. Because otherwise, you find out, it's kind of my understanding. Again, I think it comes down to a lot of equations, a lot of choices. The way the world is nowadays with social media and everything, it definitely makes relationships challenging to a level they never were before. So certainly that's all part of this game. But how do you know? I don't think you ever know for sure in relationships. I think that's one of the groovy things about it is you always have that choice. You always choose, do I want to be with this person? And then the next day you wake up and you're like, do I still want to be with this person? And you make that choice every single day. So I think that's kind of cool because none of us are slaves. Marriage is not for sure permanent, and divorce happens. So there's no guarantees on that. Now, that all being said, if you've got a relationship with someone and they're following an ex, I'd probably consider either A, trying to understand why, and then B, putting my foot down and saying, it's not okay. Not all right. Not okay for you to be maintaining past relationship connections when we're together. So which is it? Do you want her or do you want me? And make your choice. From a very, very spiritual standpoint, we're all lovebirds. We all come from the same place. So you can handle it wherever you're comfortable with that. Because I'll be honest, there's people in our audience that could handle this from all three directions. Not at the same time per se, but that's kind of how that works out. So you're asking me the question the way you're asking it. I'd put my foot down and be like, look, this isn't okay. I'm not okay with this. You either need to choose, and there you go. And that should help. And again, what that is taking ownership, loving yourself enough to demand the best for yourself, right? Like that's self-love. That's really self-worth. Would suck if you would let someone do this to you because they're kind of walking on you. They're not respecting you. That's not okay, right? So self-love would dictate that you say, hey, listen here, big guy. Maybe something like that, or buddy boy. I'm not sure what nickname you want to use for him, but comes up with something cool like that. Josephine DeMarco shares something rather cool. I saw a license plate yesterday that read "Forgive Me," and that's beautiful. And those are the people that you just want to ask them why. Like I've got a neighbor, and it says I think whatever or something on her license plate, and I just want to ask her. I'm like, how do you say that in your head? Like whatever or whatever or whatever. Like how in your mind does your license plate read? Because that's just so funny to me. So love it. Hello from Germany. Welcome. Moss Free Spirit. Guten Tag, or is it Guten Nacht? Or sorry, I've sucked with German. I'm really bad. I know how to say a couple bad words if that counts for anything. Let's see here. I lost where I was. Where'd you go again? All right. I guess we'll start right here. Think about, someone answering a question. Dan, you are freaking awesome, Peter. Thank you, sir. So you just smile and rub your belly. One day the baby will be there and you can hold and play with it. But until then, you rub your belly, smile, and know one day it'll come. You are on the money. I love that. I obviously don't look at it, but I'm thinking you're talking to someone else because I just can't even imagine what it's like to have a baby inside of me, right? Like, I just can't even imagine. I don't know. Is that the same for ladies, by the way? Is that a stupid question? But, I mean, like, before you ever have a baby, can you imagine what it's like to have a baby? For those of you that have had babies, and before you had a baby, when you tried to imagine having a baby, is it probably like a dude trying to imagine having a baby, or did you still have a better chance at it because you're a woman? I don't know. I'm literally asking. I seriously question that. That's kind of interesting because, like, if you've never had a baby inside of you, I don't know how anyone would know what it would be like, right? That would just seem strange to have something growing inside of you. Let's see. I had a more interesting question I wanted to ask. Okay. Hopefully you get to it. It's going to be like the hippie days. Sure is. Joseph Eli. I hear his name a lot, by the way, Himanshu. I don't know if anyone else follows him, but I certainly do, and I'm cool saying his name. Joseph Eli. He's probably, people keep saying they want, he's someone that's current, right? I want to say he's a younger man, brown hair maybe or something like that. I feel like that's who Joseph is. People have suggested we do video together. I think we will at some point. And if anyone has any tie with him, man, throw him my way, man. I'd love a chance at it. He's, I think, a bigger channel at the moment, but yeah, I think we could chat. Let's see. Trying to manifest, but constantly ending up back where you started is maddening. Any help? Yeah, Miss Eva Simone. It suggests to me that so we've talked about consciousness, shifting consciousness. I don't remember the name of the video, so I can't even pretend to point you in the right direction, but I've mentioned the analogy a couple times. Shifting your consciousness, so when you go and imagine like you're putting yourself in the place where the wish is fulfilled, where you've already got this thing, it's already happening in your life, like you're in it, it's right now, I feel it, I know it's real, and I experience it. When you do that, you shift your consciousness. You put your consciousness in the place of having this desire. When your consciousness is shifted and you can keep it there, you manifest that desire, you manifest the whole world that comes with it, frankly. There's a lot more that usually comes with these energy shifts than just what we're manifesting, but oftentimes, believe me, it's always good stuff usually, right? So you manifest that. By putting yourself in that place, by experiencing that, you are creating motion towards it. You're creating that consciousness. Sorry, I lost train of thought. You're creating the consciousness. I likened it to putting on a new pair of shoes. When you buy that new pair of shoes, new pair of fancy shoes, you'll get blisters, right? You'll get all sorts of problems. You got to break them in. And when you first put those shoes on, it's freaking uncomfortable. It's not comfortable. I'm not used to it. It's unnatural, as Goddard says. Now, what many of us do, sounds like you're probably doing this without realizing it, is you take the new shoes off after wearing them for a very short period of time because of the lack of comfort, and you put on the old shoes, your old consciousness, the old man, I think it's called, right? You put that old feeling back on because it's comfortable. I like it. It's like those weighted blankets, right? It's like, I feel so safe and confident and secure. But the problem is you're in your old consciousness. And old consciousness is never going to get new thing. Never. Never, never, never. Impossible. It's impossible to get there. You're on a totally different plane. You would never even see it. So the only way to get to this new reality, that's what the point of this original video is to transform your current reality, or even as Goddard says, to essentially sacrifice the old version of you and replace it, or born again, with the new version of you. So going back to the same place means you're putting on the old shoes. Try to keep the new consciousness on longer. Try to get back to that new consciousness consciously. Try to do the meditations more to get yourself to that feeling place more often if you need to. But realize that you keep sliding back to your old ways of thinking. And those old ways of thinking are prohibiting you from reaching this new level. So I think that's where your answer is going to probably be. Let's see. Free will. Thank you. Oh my God, it was killing me that I couldn't remember that damn word. 2 words, really, but whatever. I meditate at least an hour a day. I listen to theta waves here on YouTube. Awesome. Good for you, North Star 143. That is fantastic. Jerry, your manifesting has to materialize in its own time. It's super true, I think. Do I have Oracle cards, Josephine DeMarco? I have, what one of mine? Mine are the White Brotherhood is the group that made my tarot cards, and I use those. But no, I don't have Oracle cards. Those are good when you need them. I used my tarot cards a long time ago, and they were really good at the time. I've realized a lot of things since then. And if you think about it, Oracle cards a lot of the times are geared around what's going to happen to me. And if you're asking the question, what's going to happen to me? You don't realize you choose what happens to you. And that's the difference. So you get to a point sometimes where you don't need them anymore, but I found that they kind of sometimes help me decide what I desire or what I want. But if you're asking what's going to happen, that's decided by you. That you create reality. You're projecting onto your movie screen your movie. So to then go and ask the Oracle what happens in my movie, it's like, well, dude, read your own script. You got this. So hopefully that helps. Let's see. I think manifesting multiple things will be easier. What do you guys think? Yeah, I think I answered you, but yes. Let's see. Faith 3. Ow, jumpy. Too many obstacles. My SP is my ex-husband. It's been over 2 years since he left. He lives interstate. Our divorce he lodged went through. Third party his side. My family hates him, I'm guessing. Yeah, it sounds like you got some obstacles for shizzle. So yeah, what you really do, and the trick is, and again, it just requires accepting a few things or understanding things just with a little more depth. But when you imagine the place where he and you are together, okay, so imagine this place. It's obviously not right here, right now. Obviously, we got all these things in the way, so not right now. It's going to be in a place. We've got to imagine a time where you feel like that naturally could happen. Maybe summertime, maybe 6 months, maybe a year from now. I don't know. And I'm not saying you put a deadline. It's not like that. You've got to have an acceptable amount of time it's going to take to move through these steps to get yourself to this place where all these obstacles are not there. So let's just say a year. That's a long time. Maybe 6 months. Let's say 6 months. I don't want to be mean, right? I don't want you to feel like it's like that. That's horrible. But here it is. 6 months from now, I've got this place where him and I are together. We're going on our first date. Maybe that's your manifestation, right? Candlelight dinner. Maybe it's at your house, whatever. So you create that. You feel it. It's like exciting. You've got this. Now you've got to believe that can happen. And what it is, it's your higher self, it's God, it's whatever, will get the steps to happen. Will cause them in the third party to learn the lessons they need to learn. Will cause him to kind of look at you differently after all these lessons have been applied, and he now can play back the past and go, I wonder if I was being a jerk then like I was here. And they start to learn and they start to figure out stuff. And through the same process, you're also learning and growing. You're expanding your consciousness. You're becoming a better and brighter version of you and becoming more attractive to them as well. Because that's part of this too, is raising our energy to a place where they're going to look at us and go, yeah, she really is like that awesome woman. And that's what we're telling ourselves when we do the mirror technique and we're looking at ourselves and going, yes, you are awesome. He loves you. He loves who you are. He loves the kind of person, like you are an amazing person. You are the kind of person that men want to be with. You're the kind of person that he would be lucky to be with. And you have to really start to believe that. And when you shift your consciousness up to that level and you've prepared the place, now it's just an issue of taking steps on the stepping stones along the way. Maybe that's going to the gym 3 times a week. Maybe that's doing some other thing. Maybe that's starting your realtor career license thing. Who knows? I don't know what steps you're going to take between here and there, but stuff's going to happen in the process of you creating this new life, because that's essentially what you're doing. One of you shifted up. That's usually how I look at it. One of you shifted their consciousness up, and the other one's wanting to catch up. So whoever shifted up is going to be given a hand to help the other individual up. Whoever shifted up cannot shift back down. You just can't. You can't go backwards. It doesn't let you. It's like a fish ladder, even though you probably could go backwards in a fish ladder. They don't seem to. They always seem to want to go up, right? But anyway, hopefully that kind of helps get you in that place. But you have to understand that the stepping stone, you're heading in that direction. There is a way. There's a way around the obstacles. Always know that. There is. You may not know all the ways it could happen. You are definitely unaware of, think of it, you're unaware of all the thoughts he has in his head. You're unaware of the fact that you pop into his head 16 times every day. You're unaware of that. You don't know that, right? So how could you possibly see all the possibilities that exist between you and him right now? Even though you see blockages in the way, you don't see all of what's between you and him. Understand there's a bunch of avenues, probably mostly ones you don't see, that will get you from where you are right now to where you and him are together. And that's essentially the transformation I'm talking about. You will transform your consciousness and you will leave it there, and this path will light itself, like I was talking about with James Redfield, light itself. You will find the way to this thing that you desire. It is a for sure. It really is. It's a beautiful thing. Let's see. Augustin Jr. Gomez. Do you work on a daily or skip day meditation? Let my Sunday to rest now. I try to rest, try to manifest daily in the shower. I'll be honest. That's the place where I do it. The water going over me is a baptismal effect. So it's a double whammy. It helps clean the my aura as well. So I try to do it daily. I will admit, like, there are times where I don't. But it's most every day I do. So and if I don't, I don't feel bad about it. It's just I find if I go a number of days without doing it, I start to notice a little more disharmony more in my thoughts. I just tend to be a little more jumbled in my head or going down multiple paths simultaneously. I mean, I really believe meditation is one of the single best things we can do to benefit ourselves immediately is begin meditating. Get a book on how to meditate. Learn how to meditate. Learn how to do a good breath and do it daily, even for 5 minutes. Believe me, even for 5 minutes, it will make a difference every day. Trust me. All right. But according to Goddard, let's see, here we go. Moss Free Spirit. According to Goddard, the example of I remember when we can manifest for others too. Yes, but the other has to accept it. Goddard has talked about that a bunch. So understand that in the context of Goddard, if what you send out to another is not accepted by them, it is reflected back unto the sender. That is what Goddard says. So you're misquoting him. But that being said, yes, you can manifest for others. But if they aren't accepting of it, it's one thing Jesus tried to teach us how healing works. But unfortunately, one of the key things is understanding where that individual is at consciously. And if they're in a place consciously where they can't heal it, then they're not going to. But if they're in a place consciously where either A, them believing that you can help them, or either A, they believe that they've got control of this, or you can help them look in a different direction, yes, then you can affect that experience and that healing with them. But it always comes down to another's consciousness. Always. Always does. You can lead a horse to water is the example, but you can't make them drink. It's just how it works. I'm sorry. I know a lot of people want to hear that, no, you can force people to do whatever you want. But what a crappy world would that be if people could force you to do whatever they want, even if you don't want to do it? Would that be okay? I don't think so. So no, it's just not how it works. On top of my previous comment, his mom has also done black magic on off throughout our marriage to cause issues between us. Anyone thoughts on as well? I really appreciate. Yeah, boy. So yeah, black magic. Again, this goes back to my original point. Maybe that's why I brought it up. Maybe this is why it's coming up. I don't know. Okay, but black magic only works if you give her power. Period. 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 And if you want to be tough with her, be like, look, I've put my shields up, my vortex up. Your power no longer affects me. I no longer give you power over me. Now, she might still be able to control her son, but you take away that power, which affects how her son's going to interact with you as well. You own that. People can't put spells on you without your permission. Your ability to block yourself or the power of Christ compels, however you need to look at it, you definitely have an ability that's far more powerful than their ability to affect you. And this again goes back to the point of, can we force other people to do things? No. And black magic has a big karmic debt to pay with it when you're trying to get people to do things against their free will. Big time karmic debt that is paid for it. So there's that as well. What should we imagine? Having a committed relationship with SP or happily married with SP? Which is more effective? Rohit, I think both are fine. I mean, which one matters to you? Is it really all about the marriage? If it's all about the marriage, then okay, get married. I know marriage is kind of a weird thing these days with a lot of people. Certainly in some of the generations, my generation too, for that matter, and then a lot of people younger than me. So it really depends. If you want to be in a relationship where marriage isn't your thing, then just be in an awesome, committed, healthy relationship, and boom, you're good to go. Everything's going to work out beautifully too. So again, what do you want? That's the hardest question I think for all of us to ask is, what is it that I actually want from the universe or from people or from life? And then focus on it, have it, and be it. And that's what you get. Fantastic how it plays. Okay, I need to manifest an apartment ASAP with no money, no job, and bad credit. Yay, let's go. Yeah, I would also consider, I mean, you could probably find someone that'll let you stay with them and stuff, right? That seems possible. But I would probably also try to manifest a resolution to some of those problems. So you got no money, no job, and bad credit. Yeah, it sounds like we've made some poor choices to get ourselves in this place in our life. Now's a good time to start really looking at what are some of the decisions I'm making? What are some of the beliefs I hold? Maybe it's time to resolve those a little bit, and who knows what other cool stuff you might get to experience. Hope that helps. Let's see. Dan from Gail Richardson, your advice here regarding visualizing wealth is oh, cool, and very, very much an aha moment for me. Oh, very cool. I feel like I was just getting in my own way the way I was doing it. So probably were. So good for you. That's awesome, Gail. That's very, 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 very cool. Lots of varies, right? I get you. Guten Abend. And is MO a free spirit? MO, free spirit. I don't know. MO. I don't know what you're saying. I wish I got that. But I think you're telling me how to say good day or something, right? Abend, I hope. Anyway, let's not get off track, Dan. Kim W. Hey, welcome to see you. So we got a two-parter here, it looks like. People say you should be specific when asking the universe for something. I hear stories of people getting into accidents when they ask for money, for example. But we are also supposed to trust the universe. How can I trust a universe that would get me to what I want but hurt me in the process? Well, that's a kind of a belief thing, isn't it? Like, no, that doesn't have to happen. So just because you've read that, I've read all sorts of crazy crap on the internet, Kim. I don't believe everything I read by any stretch of the imagination. I'm also going to say something that tends to be a little controversial. I don't believe anyone's source is 100% correct, ever. Ever. There's some that probably get close in the 80 percentile range, maybe a little more, but I don't think anybody hits it 100%. I think that would just be crazy, or you're going to end up like some other famous people on this planet that were teaching really, really cool truths at 100% accuracy, and they sometimes have problems that are become of them. That being said, so don't trust the universe that it's going to hurt you. I mean, that's absurd, Kim. I don't believe that's true at all. I hear stories. Okay, well, I hear stories of people that focus on stupid, crazy stuff that end up experiencing stupid, crazy things. So, again, I think you're making connections that aren't correct. But then just, if you're that worried about it, just specify to the universe, yes, this is what I'd like to experience, and I'd like to stay healthy and safe. Just add that to the manifestation, and hopefully that'll help get you in that place. Yeah, we do have a super group here today, Gary. I agree with you 100% on that. I appreciate the fact that some of you guys, you passed an hour now. It's awesome. Let's see. Wow, Christina, I've had 5 babies. The first time, yes, it was weird, cool, and later awesome till labor. And extra high. But the others was much easier. So, yeah, okay. That helps. Thank you, Christina, for answering that for me. Because I'm a dude. I'll never, ever answer that question, ever. I mean, a lot of mothers I've met just really love their kids, and it's a beautiful thing. So it's always like that outside foreign thing to a dude, right? You're like, well, I had fun creating them that one time, but outside of that. Okay, I've been trying to manifest a special person who isn't single now. Out of the blue, they texted me this past week. Is that a good sign that they are thinking of me? Let me ask you, Jeffrey. Are you stoked they texted you? I'd say that's a good thing. That's how manifesting works. Do you like what you just created in your reality? Give you a thumbs up on that? Do more of it. Keep doing what you're doing. And then the other part of me is like, yeah, dude, you keep doing what you got. That's fantastic. Let's see. The universe has timing. You must work that out. That's so true. Miss Hill, Dan, what is the difference between intuition, guidance, and seeing signs like names or conversations about our manifestation, or is it all the same? Absolutely not. Those are completely different things. Seeing signs is seeing a physical thing, and realizing, because it kind of makes a connection with your higher self, that this sort of relates to something that I've been thinking about. Intuition is feeling, it's experiencing things without being anywhere near it. It's not physical. How about that? Intuition is a non-physical thing in most cases. I'm trying to think if I can break that rule, but I think I'm pretty solid on that. But yeah, generally intuition is on the sixth sense side of thing. It's not physical. You're picking up on something as it's crystallizing. That's really what intuition is it's when it's in that ethereal location rather than physically here. That's when you actually start to get more of a gut feeling about it, is when it's already physically manifested. So it's a slightly different feeling. So if you consider the gut feeling part of intuition, then okay, I'll give it to you. But when I'm talking about like channeling or picking up a feeling about something, yeah, that's the upper chakras, 4 and higher. Carla, I use Oracle. We don't need to get that. Let's see. Just Fly and Dan RadioStyle together. That would be exciting, wouldn't it? I think we should do that one of these days. You will manifest this for us. Cool. Thank you. I love it. Barca S. I got selected in an office 1 month after giving interview, but I am not sure if my specific job. How do I figure it out? How do I know this is it? You don't know it's this. This is it. You know it's a step towards it. Like, you're not going to die. And I'll be honest, like the way life works these days, hardly anyone goes into the same job for the rest of their lives. I mean, that's weird. Like, people don't really do that anymore. I mean, they have, and you can, and I'm not saying you don't. Most people job jump, do other jobs, work for separate companies, work for different doctors, different facilities, different whatevers. You'll bounce around a little bit. You'll get raises in the process. You might start your own practice. So a lot of things can happen. Specific job, no, but the specific stepping stone for you, definitely. How do I know it's the right one? Because you're on it. That's how I know the stepping stone we're on right now is the proper one, is because I just stepped onto it. So it obviously is. What I'm experiencing right now is part of what I'm creating for a reason. If it's confusing, then okay, let's figure out why it's confusing, but it's happening for a reason. I created this. I am on my way to this experience. This thing happened. Why? I don't know. There's got to be something to it. I know I'm still on my way. But I had this interesting thing that maybe I've got to work through. Maybe I've got a consciousness shift. Maybe I've got a belief that's kind of strange. Like, it could be any number of things amongst any of us. But that's, I think, hopefully helps. I hope. Let's see. And we got Faith. I jumped again. And let's see. Yes, exactly. I got people that are answering people. Let's go some. Okay. Mossford. My neighbor is complaining about her weight. Plus, I understood it can also reflect back to me as well as in losing a few pounds myself. So maybe you get an exercise thing, go for walks with her, do something. Maybe you guys, one night a week, you guys have some sort of super healthy meal that's not a lot of, I don't know, like that might be a fun thing for both of you to work on. And maybe that's why you've manifested this individual that needs to go through this experience into your life, is so you guys can go through this together. Like, I've found that's one of the cool things about the souls in our lives that we interact with, is it's fun to hang out with each other. Like, we generally really enjoy hanging out with one another. So there's probably a reason for it seems, right? So yeah, that sounds really cool that you got a chance to maybe get to work with someone else and you guys can both improve your lives. Jonathan M. Neville states, the pearl of great price requires that we let go of old beliefs such as astrology, numerology, and other things to truly learn to manifest. Do you believe this? I haven't read him to say anything of that nature. In fact, Goddard was definitely into esoteric stuff. So I don't know where you've gotten this information. I personally don't trust it. That's my first thought, because it tends to be contradicting of what my experience of Goddard has been. But he was definitely esoteric. The people he learned from were into that stuff as well. So I don't think what you're saying is true. I think astrology, numerology are all tools to help us make sense of what's going on around us. We've created all these understandings so we can make sense of the imagery that we experience in our lives. And it really does help. And true, there are patterns that we for sure experience in our lives. And astrology seems to sort of play a kind of a coincidental part in that. I'll say, because it's not always accurate, but boy, oh boy, it sure is sort of similar sometimes. And it's just weird. You're like, that just seems so strange, but it seems to matter. And then I think the rising sign of the time you were born seems to really play a part. And then where everything is relative to that. Again, astrology is just crazy fun stuff. Numerology is something I love, by the way. I still love numbers. Numbers are cool. There was at one point where the average watch time was actually a specific number that I'm really fond of. And I was just like, that's pretty cool. I mean, it's not the best average watch time, but that's usually where it's at. So, but it was cool. It was a good number. 927, right? So I love those. 9 is 3 squared and 27 is 3 cubed. It's just a neat number to me. And all numbers, this is just fun. For anybody that's into reduction, like reduction would be the number 14. You reduce it down to 5, right? It's 1 plus 4 equals 5. If you have 144, it's 1 plus 4 plus 4 equals 9, right? One thing that's cool about 9 numbers is any time you multiply 9 by anything, anytime 9 is multiplied by anything and you reduce it down, it always reduces down to 9. Always, 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 always. It's the easiest way to know if you've got it right. Like if I take a number and multiply it times 9, how do I know I'm right? Well, you can at least tell you're sort of right, because if all the numbers reduce down to 9, you're definitely right. If it doesn't reduce down to 9, you're definitely wrong. But it's kind of fun. 18, 1 plus 8, 27, 2 plus 7, 36, 3 plus 6. It works. Go all the way out to times 9,246, and the answer reduces down to 9. It's very cool. There's something magical about 9s. Anyway, side salad. Gluten to bend. Good evening. Oh, cool. Good evening. Oh, and I was saying like Guten Nacht or something crazy, but right? That's not right, though, but you're saying it properly. Thank you. I love it. Love learning stuff from other languages. And do you believe we are the only causation? In our lives, I believe, Christine, I don't know, Stevenson. I believe we do co-create. So let me say that. We do co-create. It depends how it's affecting. Is it affecting, because there's stuff that we experience on a global basis. There's stuff we experience as a country. There's stuff we experience in a city, right? So there's manifestations that happen in levels, right? And I think we collectively are the causation of the larger things. But when you talk about what's happening to you in your own little world, your own microverse, yeah, it's 100% you causation, 100%. There's no one else that's causing things to happen in your life. And if you're trying to manifest something in someone's life, generally what you're doing is implanting the seed in them, and in such a way that they believe that you can actually help them, and then they manifest it. That's how you manifest something in someone else's life. You don't just push it into their life. No. You can. I guess you can manifest things into their life that they might like, right? So I guess you could do that, but they're still ultimately going to choose it. I don't know. It's fun. You can play with that. I mean, there's a lot of... I could do a whole show on that probably and just ramble on about it, but no one wants that. Nam Energy question. When we say I am, are we also saying that everyone else is not? No, you're not. You're just stating that you are. But you're not stating anything else other than that. That's the statement. So that would be an interesting way to look at it. But no, unless you're saying I am and everyone else is not, then why? Because that's kind of a weird ego thing at that point. Like, I want to be the only one that is. You will find that that's kind of a strange... Now you're comparative to things outside of yourself, and that gets you in all sorts of dangerous waters when you do that. But no, I am is just stating your own acknowledgement of you. That's what I am is. And then stating that I am is acknowledging I am not only conscious of me being aware of me, but I'm also conscious of the fact that I'm also am aware I am this other thing as well. I am the that I am component. So if I want to be a salesman, I am myself, that I am a salesman also. It's kind of that understanding of it to a degree. Deeper, really, in the big picture, but simplified just there. Hopefully that makes sense. What else we got going on here? 927 is your number 2. Awesome, Jamila. Thank you for jumping out there. That's your anniversary. Very cool. Shy Trisha. Love it. I love 7 and 8. 7 and 8s are good times too. I love math. I love numerology. I love numbers, Jamila. I do too. I actually love math. I hate to say, I don't like do it for fun, but I do like Sudoku. You get one of those puzzles going, I'll jump on board. For shizzle. Faith 3, Dan, thank you. I'm going to Bali in a week, so for solo trip, how can I enjoy myself and live in the end knowing he's not with me? My sister is looking after our daughter, so I could take a break. I sort of talked about that earlier, but you're in process of getting there. It's the standpoint of I mixed all the ingredients together, and it takes 45 minutes in the oven to cook, and it's been in the oven 20 minutes. Do you feel like your cake's never going to bake? I mean, how do you see that? The other example I've been giving multiple times today, you're standing at your back patio, you slide open the door, you see there's a shed in your backyard, you want to go to the shed. Do you feel like it's impossible to get to the shed because it's way over there? Or do you realize, well, I just got to head towards the shed, and then halfway to the shed, do you look around and go, oh my God, I'm still not in the shed. I don't know what to do. Like, no, you're on your way. So living in the end is something that I really think is confused a lot of people. But living in the end really means keeping your consciousness in the place of realizing that I am this person. This stuff is happening. It's coming into my life. It's happening. It's becoming. I am experiencing it now. Like, it's a now process, and it's a consciousness expansion. It's not like walking around and just pretending that my boyfriend's holding my hand. No. It's walking around knowing that your boyfriend wants to hold your hand and wishes he was with you right now, as well as you wish you were with him right now. And we will be together as soon as we are. It's that. And I think, again, living in the end is something that I get a lot of questions that I think has caused a lot of confusion in people. That and everyone as you pushed out. I think those are two things that have just really caused some interesting confusions. Maybe the safest way I can say that. Okay. Let's see. Number makes me want to go back and listen to Revolution 9 by the Beatles. I love the White Album. Man, you're talking, Kale. White Album's good stuff. Number 9. Such a trippy shit. Anyway. Yeah, you start talking about all my fun in college. That was an album. Just throwing some headphones. Oh, man. Got lost on that one time. That was good stuff. Simply Stated with Samantha. That's some good alliteration going on there, sort of. Do you feel you can manifest in steps? Yeah, totally. Like with an SP. Can we manifest communication, then say dates, then moving in together, then marriage? Marriage is my end goal. We were already married 28 years. I love it, looking back from there. Yes. So, yes, your approach is awesome. I generally recommend stepping out as far as is natural for you. That's kind of what my general rule is. So if you want to be in a relationship with someone and you imagine being in a marriage and you think about that and you're like, oh, I've never even talked to this person, never even spoken a word to this person in real life. The idea of being married to him is absurd. Like, I can't wrap my head around it. All right, well, step it back a bit. Let's manifest a message, text message. Maybe the first time you get texted from them, right? Like, that's believable. That's easy. And that's an awesome first step. Or to your point, like stepping it out, for sure. I think stepping is very important. There's a difference, and this is where a lot of people throw it back on me. And hang on. The difference between stepping through something and micromanaging your manifestation are vastly different. It's one thing to know I want to have a relationship with someone. At some point, I have to physically talk to them. That's not me telling the universe how it has to manifest a relationship. Because I'll tell you what, if someone just magically showed up in your house and all of a sudden was like, hey, you're my wife. And you're like, whoa, who the frick are you? Like, it doesn't work like that, right? That would scare the crud out of most of us. So we got to understand that, yeah, things have to happen in certain steps. Now, to say, I wish to be more wealthy, and the only way in my mind I can see that happening is winning the lotto. Wow, now you're saying how it has to happen. Now you're greatly limiting the way that it happens. So there's kind of a difference, in my mind anyways, between different paths. Like, I wish to be wealthy. I wish to have more income. I wish to have higher amounts of wealth. Well, great. Then expand that. Imagine what it would be like to be wealthy. Don't just say, and I want to win the lotto. Like, that's the only way it can happen. No, a lot of ways you could manifest wealth and income. A lot of ways. There's probably even something you're really good at that could make a huge difference. So I'm just saying. Okay. South African comedian living and working in the U.S., host of The Daily Show. I love that dude. That guy's great. Is that someone's name you've said somewhere up there? Anyway, Trevor. That's right. Trevor. Yeah, that guy's awesome. He's very, very funny. Let's see. Tim Wood, can you help other people awaken spiritually? I've tried sharing this stuff to others, but it seems that they're not open to LOAs. Yeah, no. So you can't. This is so fun. This took me many, many months to figure out as a youngin'. And it was very frustrating too, by the way. Like my whole desire in this entire life of mine, pretty much since I was 13, was to help other people, to affect other people, to make a difference in this world. Like it was just something I figured out kind of early on and realized that's something I wanted to do. I tried to talk about this crazy stuff to everybody, anybody, everybody. And what I found is people that aren't open to it just look at you like you're crazy, and you create like fun little like nicknames for yourself, like Crazy Dan. And like I was on the air and when I was in Knoxville, I was the overnight guy. And the morning show guys would know I'd print out all sorts of crazy crap that I would read throughout the night and take it home and read. And one time I left a bunch of that junk on the printer, and they got a hold of it and they started ripping on me on the air, you know, talking about how I was into UFOs and just crazy stuff, you know, whatever, right? So it's one of those things where if you speak on deaf ears, it's a waste of time. It's like scattering your seed. I think it's the story that comes to my mind right now is the story of the dude, the farmer or whatever, that was scattering the seed. And some of it went on the path, right? He was just willy-nilly throwing it around. Some of it went on the path. Some of it went over in the weeds. Some of it actually went in the field where it's supposed to. And I feel like some of it went someplace else, whatever. The fact is when you're talking to everybody, you're scattering your seed all over the damn place. And you're wasting energy. And you find that it'll be very exhausting and frustrating because you're like, I just want to talk about this. I wish more people understand the truth. And in that process of expanding and in that process of talking to people, you start to realize something. You're like, oh, I can almost tell who's open to this right off the bat and who's not. So what I do is I find people that are interested in it, and then I just talk their ear off, or we have cool discussions. And what you'll find is, one, it's way more rewarding. Two, the awakening process is happening exactly as it should. As each of us awakens, there's others that awaken behind us. Each one of us, as we're awakening, as we're on the front edge, the cutting edge, right, of evolution, each one of us has people in our wake. And these people are going to look up to us as we awaken. So awaken yourself for sure. Find other similar souls that are more than happy to have that chit chat with you for sure. It just makes it amazing. And you'll have a better time at it. But yeah, trying to get away from the just pushing your stuff on people like I'm here to wake up, even people that aren't awake. No, everyone's waking up at their perfect exact time. Everyone. Yeah, my take on language and learning German, very funny. I don't know if that's me or not, but yeah, I don't speak German very well at all. Let's see. They say it is deep or they're not really interested. Thank you. Anyway, lots of great people. Let's see. I'm seeing if we're probably getting to the end, it looks like, guys, so that's fantastic. Pushing 2 hours here. Yeah, hour and 40. Let's see. Good wishes to you, Faith 3 as well. Casting the pearls before the swine. Excellent, Gail. Yeah, you're on the money with that. That's exactly it. Thanks. That's how I was thinking. He is my ex-husband. Was really married 20. Oh, holy crap. Okay. But we have to start over and had worried beliefs about messing up the middle. Good for you. Yeah, you're on track, it sounds like. Pearls before the swine. Love it. Let's see. What's going on here with Frantic? If I can find that. There you are. Oh, that's what you're putting on there, Frantic? Oh, subscribe to my channel. Oh, plug in yourself. That's cute. Let's see. Let's remove that. I think I got that right. Oops. Sorry, Gary. I just removed the wrong one. Anyway, that's how it goes. That's the right one. Cool. So yeah, and see, we got Andrea Desi. Hey, Dan, often happen that when you move on from your ex, like date other people, they come back because you don't send energy. Yeah, it's totally. Oh, that happens all the time. It's one of the reasons. I mean, honestly, Andrea, it was one of the reasons why I sneakily tell people to let go for a short period of time. It is one of the most powerful ways to get that person to reach out to you. When you've got this I want you energy, this desperation energy, this just text me energy, it's an annoying energy to people. But it's energy. It's like shining a spotlight wherever you're at, and you're like, it's annoying you're shining a spotlight on me, but it's kind of warm, and it almost kind of feels good because it's a little chilly right now, right? Like, it's nice. And then you stop it, you take the light away, and they're like, whoa, it just gets cold. And it's weird to them. So yeah, they'll reach out because they're like, what happened to so-and-so? One of the most powerful things you can do in manifesting, especially when you're trying to get a specific person and it's not going well, is to stop freaking trying for a few days and watch what happens. It's fantabulous. Yeah. I don't share my LOA stuff. They must realize on their own. Amen, Gary. I love it. Let's see. Oh, the double slit experiment. Why wouldn't I want to show that? Cool. I'll show that, Patrick. Yeah, the double slit experiment may apply with this. LOA and awakening only makes sense to the observer. You must be ready to open your mind and observe. Yeah, that's kind of a cool way to look at it, a quantum kind of concept where it's both places at the same time, but it can't technically be because there's a perceiver and observer, so the observer kind of chooses by the very nature that, hey, I'm here to observe. All right, well, it must be this. It's a very, very cool thing. So, yeah, I love when Neville talks about Abdullah as well, and I think, again, that's where some of these more esoteric things come from, where I don't think Goddard, especially in Your Faith is Your Fortune, and this will probably be the parting words that I will go with, but in Your Faith is Your Fortune, I swear to God, that's like the one that Neville, I don't want to say went off the rails, he went into the deep, he went into the woods, the consciousness aspect. Like I've done 3 books of his, and I've done that with The Law is Your Promise, Faith is Your Fortune, and there it is, The Power of Awareness. 3 awesome books, by the way, and again, I mention this all the time. Here's the link. There's a link below for Neville Goddard. It's like right under Conversations with God stuff probably. But this complete reader is great. All these books are in it. So I've got a link so you can see the book. You don't have to buy it there. It's just an Amazon link so you can actually see it. But if you do, it's kind of groovy. And on top of that, it's just, yeah, it's a great book if you want to get into Goddard. But yeah, this book, Your Faith is Your Fortune, is definitely more on the crazy side. It's really cool. He gets into the consciousness. It's almost like the one he did the mushroom trip on or something, right? Like he gets deep. And this is the one where I know he's really getting into the more spiritual aspects of manifesting, the more crazy spiritual aspects. And when you think that he was writing probably that book in particular, probably in the 60s, and that was his audience, he was way ahead of his times. Like just even today, we're barely grasping what he was talking about. Back then, he was so far ahead of his time, and he was rapping it in a way that would appeal to a larger sense of the audience, but still wasn't even doing justice to what he was really trying to tell us. It was impressive. Let's see. Okay, Jonathan M's asking me a question. Do you only reference all of Neville's information from his books, or do you trust the YouTube lectures? If he's doing the speaking, I trust it. If someone else is telling me what he said, I don't, as a rule. And it's mainly because, like I said, so many things have already been misquoted by him, and I've been waiting for people to give me quotes to show me where he says what everyone claims he says. I've not seen it yet. And so that's one of the main reasons why I'm literally going through the book page by page. It's like, I want to find where he says this, because right now, so far, everything I've read contradicts that of him, by the way. So, yeah, trust to me is one of those things where if I'm going to trust somebody's opinion, I'm going to hear it from them. I'm not going to listen to somebody tell me hearsay about what they understand it to be, because that's the telephone game, and that's like going through their filters, and I've just found that generally doesn't work well for me. I want to hear it from the source, and then I want to filter it myself, right? Like, I don't want it pre-filtered, because who knows what I'm getting at that point. Hopefully that helps. Let's see. Love the UK. Hey, welcome to the UK. I'm Scottish. He sure is. It's fabulous. Listen and read to Joseph Murray, too. I've got a Dr. Joseph Murray book on my desk in there. He's next. And I'm going to probably start plugging it soon. I'm not sure how much more of this Goddard. I'll probably go back to it at some point, but I think when I finish this, I'm going to hop over to this Dr. Joseph Murphy book. First off, just a little flipping through it I've done. There's cool sections. Like, I could do entire videos on one page, and there's like 2 different paragraphs that are lessons unto themselves. So it's really interesting how it's written. So again, as I get closer to doing that, I'll share the book with people and let you know which one I'm doing, and that way you guys can kind of follow along. And if you guys enjoy the Neville stuff, you'll probably get into the Dr. Joseph Murphy stuff as well. I'm hoping. So we'll see how that plays out. So anyway, yeah, you guys are awesome, man. I love these lives. I love the fact that everybody's joining me on these. You guys have been great. I mean, this is just such a good time. I think getting in the habit of doing it gives us all a place where we can chit-chat. Gives us all a time to hang out, kind of ask questions and bounce off. We got all you wonderful arbiters. I'm not even sure I'm saying the wrong word, but hey, all you people helping out in the channel. My brain's not working. It's Miller time. Shoot. Sharon Combs, welcome. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. Jonathan M., Himanshu, Patrick, Kim W., Gail Richardson, Mr. Ballard, Andrea, Desi, Susan Kuntz. I gotta say that correctly. Start Turtle, nice to see you again, buddy. Himanshu, bye, you guys. You're the best. Autumn Beauty, thank you for your help, as always. Martine, thank you for joining. Hope you guys have a great weekend and a lovely Saturday. And if it's already Sunday for you, what happens in the future. Love you guys. We'll talk next weekend. Thanks, everybody.